Hey, this is Wesley with MillRight CNC. Today we're going to showcase some joint work uh, used to make a box. Now, earlier we did a video about a proof of concept and some of the joint work we're doing. This is a finger tenon joint that can be done using our machines. And previously we showed a 2 inch by 4.5 inch section forming a joint using these tenons. Now the features themselves are 0.75 inches, and the tenon section is 0.75 as well. And we went with a 4.5 because it just flows nicely to showcase the joint. Now this is the box itself. I have each section labeled: bottom, back, front, sides, top. And where I started was on the front and back sections. Now I followed that proof of concept and just made some changes with it. The features themselves are still 0.75 and the tenons are 0.75, and I made some changes as I saw fit to help improve the structure of the box and the joinings. And so you see small differences, like this section right here doesn't have a stop feature like right here, and that's because I was trying to make it symmetrical. So I have two of the stop features and then an abbreviated feature here, just to help the flow. And you'll notice that I didn't continue these features further down, and that also helps the flow. And instead of having a end feature right here, which I felt we didn't need on the box. Now the side, and you can see right here how these features are going to fit into each other. They'll just slide right in. So and uh, to make allowance for this larger feature, we have the cutout here on the sides. The sides are going to be 4.5 by 4.5, while everything else is going to be a 9 by 4.5. Now, after I finished the sides of the front and the back and the bottom, I then worked on the bottom feature for that one side, both the front and the back side, to make sure that the features matched. Then I worked on the side features and then the side pieces to make sure that they would fit, and then came back and added those features in to the sides of the bottom. And you can see all the measurements here that I have for each of the features that I thought would be of interest. Now, a brief overview of how I did the features themselves. I have a 3/4 box by 1/4 inch box, a 0.5 box by 1/4 inch box, and then another 3/4 inch by 1/4 inch box. And all I did was get this fillet tool and normal fillet at 0.125. And I went in here in the corners and did this rounding off feature for relief of the sharp corners of the tenon. And then the next thing I did was take this trim tool, and I come in here and I just clipped away whatever I didn't need until I was left with this feature. Now there are other ways to have these features installed, or you know, you can use the fillet tool, and this dog bone, we'll have to increase this a little bit, so 0.135, and then we can come in here and hit these corners, and the feature is not as exaggerated, but it still allows for a tenon to come in here with a clearance so that I mean, maybe the tenon needs to be, and the dog bone needs to be a little bit bigger, but that is an alternative way to do that. Or we can come in here with a T-bone fillet and get pretty much the same feature that I built by hand. And it's not quite as exaggerated here, but you still get the clearance you need and the stop point for your tenons. Now our stock is going to be not going to be this full 20 by 20. Our stock is going to be a it's going to be a 12 by 5.5, and that's not going to fit all of our sections on here. So what I did was I did the tool pathing for each piece individually. So I started with the bottom section, so I moved that onto the stock and did the profiling toolpath for the bottom. Then I moved the bottom out of the way and put the front back. They're the same piece. So I moved the bottom down here and did the profile toolpath for the front and back. Then moved the sides together. And on the lid, I have a couple of features here on the lid. We have a section for a handle for the string holes right here, and that's going to be a elliptical bore all the way through the piece. Then I made a lid rim here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down and pocket this small section. The stock is going to be a 1/2 inch stock, so I'm going to pocket this down 1/4 of an inch, just so it sits in the box nicely. Now the stock is going to be 0.5 thick, so the back and front and back sides, and the front and back pieces and the side pieces are only going to be 0.5 thick. But I didn't want to pressure fit, so I pocketed out 0.55 inches just so that it would sit on top and very easily, so there's no struggle to put the lid on or remove it. And that's right here on the lid rim. And then I have a profiling toolpath. Each one of these was saved individually. So we have visible toolpath to one file, so we click it, whatever we want to do, and this is the toolpath for the bottom. So that was saved individually, and the front back was saved individually, and so were the sides. But on this lid, I went up here and I select visible toolpath to multiple to one file, and I selected all 3 of them to be included. And we see here toolpaths to be saved. We have string hole, we have lid rim, and we have lid. So it's going to do all the features of the lid for one file. And so we click Gerbil millimeters, Gerbil inches would also work, and then we saved it in an appropriate place. And then using UGS, we ran the file on the Carve King 2. Let me show the settings that we used for the profile toolpaths. We used 1/8 end mill just to make sure that it can get into these recesses here, and the cut depth is 0.5, and we'll settings for the feed rate for both the inches, the feed rate and the plunge rate. So we're at 100 inches a minute and 90 inches a minute for the plunge rate, which is a nice speed for the Carve King 2. And we also have tabs on the outside tenons themselves, so that we can trim those off and sand those down without affecting the press fit that we have between the box sections. And that's the setting for all the profile toolpaths. Now the settings for the string holes, we're going a little bit deeper just to make sure that we have a nice nice hole in the lid top, but all the other settings will be the same. The lid rim, we're going just 0.25 on our cut depth. We're using a 1/8 end mill on this. It would be more efficient to use a 1/4 inch end mill, but I don't want to do too many tool changes since we're doing 5 operations already. I don't want to add to the time. But overall, look, speaking of time, we just have a couple of minutes apiece on the profiles, a minute on the string holes, and a little bit more time with the lid rim. So now the only thing left to do is to cut out these pieces. This is the finished box piece. I ran some twine through the tenon stops there, all the way around the box, a little knot there. And as you can see, the box came together pretty nicely. This is all the finishing work we did, just a little bit of sanding, a little bit of embellishment for the box itself, a little bit of design. Here's the lid. Got our lid holes. We got our recess through there. So it turned out pretty good. It has a nice fit to it. Lid just pops right on. Alright. Looks pretty good.